Well, good morning from Two Happy Children Farm. I'm doing a follow-up video on my no-till planter with all the equipment added to it. And we're out into some residue that would normally choke a horse, and we're running it today. I'm looking at maybe going into cover crops for next season, so I thought planting into this type of residue would be a good test this fall. And I'm running sweet corn, which is really sensitive to everything. A couple of things on my no-till planter I wanted to go over. First was for setup, a lot of people worry about down pressure, and I do too. So what I look for is I get my wheels so they don't turn. But what I had done a day or so ago was I had planted a test strip, and I had set my down pressure so they were turning slightly, and that's when there's no load on it, so it's static. And then since I have row cleaners, I want to increase that slightly because they're pushing up on the row unit. So when I'm standing still in the field, I want to have these wheels turning not at all. A lot of the instructions will be to have it so it's slightly turning. And I just think with the row cleaners on there and moving forward, these will be not creating too much down pressure. So I get the down pressure set so they are turning, run it a little bit, and then tighten it down a few more turns. The other thing is I have the full Thompson system on this planter. And so let's look at the seed furrow, because that's what we're really after right now. So you see the Thompson closing wheels are 2 spiked wheels. I have the standard spring on there, and I'm running it in the first notch. Thompson makes a smaller spring that doesn't have as much pressure on it, and that'd probably be in the second or third notch in this condition. Let's look at what's going on here. So I pick a spot, let's pull back the residue. In a no-till trench takes something to get used to, because we're normally used to seeing 2 V rubbers, and then you get a V in the middle. The no-till, I'm pushing down on the edges of the trench and shattering it in between the wheels. So this is what the top looks like. If you look down the row, it's 100 degrees here today, and so I really kind of do want to save all that moisture I can. We had an inch about 5 days ago. So let's pull back this trench and let's just work it across the top. So that's the first ½ inch. And you notice it's nice and mellow and soft soil. If we start working down the middle of the trench, you'll start to see, sometimes you won't even see a trench. There you start to see some sidewalls. That's very far down there. So most of the time with these spiked wheels, your sidewalls are gone. Sometimes you'll have them, there's the seed. Too bad I couldn't see where he came from. Sometimes you'll have a sidewall. Here's an example here where they've pinched in between each other. But as I pull that back, since I'm not using a heavy amount of pressure, that's just really crumbly dirt. And again, we look for the sidewall, and it's pretty much gone. So for the most part with these closing wheels, you get maybe you go down an inch and you'll start to find the sidewall again. If you're lucky, you get the pressure just right, and it just collapses it, and you're covering the seed with soft dirt. I'm going to show you why that works. I'm going to lift up the planter. First, let's look at the seed firmers. These are the seed firmers with the mojo wire on it. That's the black wire here, and they are pushing all the way down into that trench really hard. So that's embedding that seed as much as possible into the trench. So when these guys come along and disturb the sidewall, that seed is not stuck to the sidewall, it's stuck at the bottom. let's lift up the planter.